Hello, and welcome to the Adopt a Class Field Trip webinar for the 2023-2024 school year. My name is Courtney Bergdorf, and I am a program manager with Adopt a Class, and I appreciate your time today as we review all the expectations and things you need to know as an Adopt a Class team when scheduling your field trip. Today's topics include the importance of field trips, the planning stages of your field trip, expectations for the day of, field trip do's and don'ts, and if you have any questions about the field trip planning process, you can always reach out to your Adopt a Class liaison or visit our website at www.aacmentors.org. First, we will cover the importance of field trips. According to a 2022 study out of Brigham Young University, Johns Hopkins University, and the Heritage Foundation, students who participated in culturally enriching field trips have higher test scores, perform better in class, are absent less often, have fewer behavioral infractions, and have increased cultural conscientiousness over time. Because of these reasons, we highly encourage you as an Adopt a Class team to schedule a field trip with your classroom. Next, we will talk about the planning process for your field trip. First, you will need to choose a destination. We highly recommend that you bring your students back to your place of business for your field trip. This reinforces the relationship with your mentees and allows them to explore opportunities to expand their own career horizons. This also allows them to make real-world connections between what you review during your monthly sessions in the classroom in the field trip as well. Please make sure to review location specifics with your teacher and discuss any concerns that you may have prior to solidifying your destination. This could include parking, or if you are a manufacturing mentor team, machinery, or loud noises. Again, you will want to review these concerns prior to solidifying your destination with your teacher. Please let your coworkers know that students will be in the building that day and the locations you will be visiting in your place of business and your schedule. This will allow for a very smooth field trip day. If your place of business is not an option, consider another educational opportunities such as the Cincinnati Museum Center, the Cincinnati Art Museum, Cincinnati Observatory, iSpace, any nature opportunities, etc. If you are in need of exploring these options for your field trip, please reach out to your Adopt a Class liaison as they have access to the Adopt a Class field trip database. This has an overview of educational options for field trips for our mentor teams. Next is choosing your day and time for your field trip. Please work with your teacher on what day and time works best for your class, and please keep in mind as we approach the middle to end of the school year, testing schedules, holidays, as well as your school drop-off and pickup times. Please remember, field trips are about 2 to 4 hours in length from start, picking up from school to finish, dropping students back off at school. Please inform your Adopt a Class liaison of the date and time of your field trip. We absolutely love attending field trips and being there for you and your students. And we'll make it a priority for either ourselves as your Adopt a Class liaison or another Adopt a Class team member to be there. Next is planning for the bus. Your teacher or resource coordinator at your school is the expert in making bus arrangements for your school, and they should help take care of booking. Please make sure to work together to ensure all details are covered. If you are a new team with the Adopt a Class program and have not booked a bus before, or if you need assistance with coordinating transportation for your field trip, you may fill out our field trip request form on our website, and Adopt a Class will help your team with coordinating transportation for your field trip. We do ask that you submit the form at least 4 weeks prior to the field trip so that Adopt a Class has plenty of time to help you coordinate. If you are a not-for-profit partner, a civic group partner, etc., you are eligible to receive grant funding for your field trip to help cover the cost of your bus. We evaluate these upon submission, and no other paperwork is needed. Corporations who use the form to help with the booking process and Adopt a Class coordinates the transportation, you will need to reimburse Adopt a Class for the cost of the bus. Please keep in mind that the average cost for transportation for a bus is about $400, give or take. We also want you to keep in mind that most buses accommodate an average of 45 to 60 riders, depending on your age group. So please chat with your teacher or resource coordinator first about booking the bus, and then keep in mind how many riders you will have for the bus when scheduling your field trip. If you are interested in filling out the field trip request form, you can find that on our website at www.aacmentors.org. You will find it under the Resource Center and Mentor Team Toolkit. We would also like to take a moment to thank the Dater Foundation for their ongoing support of the Adopt a Class program and for our field trips. All of this information that we are covering in today's webinar can also be found on our website in the same location under the Mentor Team Toolkit and Field Trips. Finally, we do want you, of course, to plan for lunch. Because many of our field trips do take place over the lunch hour for our students, we highly encourage you to spend some time having lunch during your field trip. A few options for lunch include on-site lunchroom and restaurant at your place of business. So sometimes the facility will have a restaurant or cafeteria, and you can utilize that for lunch. Please check with on-site management to see if this is an option on the day and time of your field trip. If this is not a possibility, you can also coordinate with your teacher about bringing bagged lunch for each of the students. Since most, if not all, of our students are eligible for free or reduced lunch from the school, you can work with your teacher to have these lunches packed and the students can bring them to the destination. Another option, of course, is ordering in, and you may find this to be a very simple solution for your lunch time. Pizza is always popular, but any local restaurant that delivers to you could be a great solution. As always, please be mindful of allergies and dietary restrictions in the classroom and plan accordingly. We will now talk about the day of your field trip and what to expect and how to make it run as smoothly and successfully as possible. To help ensure your field trip day of is a success, we highly encourage you to plan an appropriate schedule. So please begin this by setting your start and end times for your field trip. Remember, most field trips are 2 to 4 hours from start to finish. We want you to think about different departments or interesting spaces and fascinating people and occupations you may want to showcase your students to during their time at your office. You can also do this by breaking up your time during the field trip into small activities in these different departments and stations. And we always recommend that you stick to the time allotted for each activity. Because if you plan as closely to the exact times as possible for the different activities or departments or stations, this will really help ensure the day goes smoothly. If you're not sure where to start, please talk with your teacher and or your students directly about specific interests they may have prior to your field trip and incorporate those into your field trip planning process where possible. And of course, plan your activities carefully and have a backup plan should weather, activities, student behavior, or anything else not go according to plan. Remember that your mentees are in a new environment and out of their normal routine, so having a backup plan is always a safe bet. Important information to include when planning your appropriate field trip schedule are the date and time of your field trip, of course, when your bus is arriving to your location, address, parking details, specific door or entrance that the students should use, and of course, important contact information. This should include either your team lead or the field trip organizer for the day, your teacher or teachers, the school resource coordinator, the contact for transportation, and of course, your contact for your adopt-a-class liaison. Please also include in your field trip schedule your lunch plans, whether the students are packing from school or home, if you're ordering in and who is in charge of ordering in, or if you're having lunch at your work cafeteria. And of course, please keep in mind that small groups are best for these field trip opportunities, including stations in different departments and what activities per station the students will be experiencing, and roughly how long each of these departments or stations should be, and walking back and forth between the departments as well. So now we will cover some field trip do's and don'ts. Please do inform your Adopt-a-Class staff member and liaison of the day and time of your field trip. We absolutely love attending them. We want you to check in with your teacher about a week or so before your field trip to make sure all students have their permission slips signed and are approved to go on the field trip. Permission slips are the sole responsibility of your teacher. So please check in with them again about a week or so before to make sure everybody has their field trip permission slips signed and are approved to go. Please have your team wear something that makes them easily identifiable on the field trip day. This could be bright colors, it could be your corporate logos or specific shirts. This will really help the students stay with the group during the field trip. We also want you to give instructions to the students multiple times and make sure they are heard and understood. You can do this and check for understanding by getting a few students to repeat back the instructions to you. During this time, we also want you to provide any ground rules for the field trip. Some areas to cover for ground rules would be voice level, especially if you're visiting some departments where people are still working, bathroom rules, and off-limit spaces. We also encourage you to have name tags, both for yourselves as the mentors and for your students. You can either print them out, you can have students make their own, etc. Either way, this will help with conversation during your field trip and connection throughout the day. Now for some field trip don'ts. We don't want you to forget permission slips. Your school will have the standard permission slip they will send home with their students. And again, your teacher is responsible for securing the signed permission slips. We don't want you to forget to have a backup plan in case of weather, activities, or student behavior does not go according to plan. And of course, we don't want you to forget to take pictures. So your Adopt-a-Class liaison or another Adopt-a-Class team member will make an effort to be at your field trip for either the entirety of the field trip or part of the field trip to take photos. However, if you or one of your team member would like to take photos, be sure to double check with your teacher who can and cannot be photographed during your visits and on the field trip. We recommend reaching out to the teacher ahead of time and requesting that all students that cannot be photographed be kept together in the same group. This makes avoiding taking pictures of them much easier. You can also do this with colored lanyards or colored dots on their name tag, indicating whether or not they can be photographed. And of course, just like in our safety and security agreement, we do not want you to be alone with a student at any time during the field trip, escort a student to the restroom, give medication, etc. If a student does need a restroom break during the field trip, let your teacher know and they will accompany the student to the restroom. This would also probably be a great opportunity to include restroom breaks during your field trip in the planning stages and creating your schedule for the day. And that concludes the Adopt-a-Class field trip webinar for the 2023-2024 school year. As I mentioned, if you have any questions about what we reviewed today, you can reach out to your Adopt-a-Class liaison, or you can check out our website at www.aacmentors.org. We're really excited for the field trips to come this school year, and we look forward to seeing you there.